Testing, testing. Marcus Speaks.
What is going on, everybody? What's happening? Welcome. Welcome to Marcus Speaks. I'm your host, Marcus. Glad to be here. Glad to be back for another week. Before we start, let me get through a couple promotions, and then we can get into today's show. So if you can, please don't forget on Fridays I do a game stream called Marcus Speaks Play. Marcus Speaks Play is where I play all of my favorite games and certain select few new releases. I'm currently playing, as the start of yesterday, I'm playing Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's pretty good, quite like every other game, so, it's good. As well, please do not forget Saturdays I do my podcast, which you are watching now, Marcus Speaks Live, alright? So, the way that this works, Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which you can see I'm late, I had to do some things. Everything's good now, so, let's see. Okay. I have two YouTube channels I would like for you guys to subscribe to. My first channel, my main channel, my baby. The one you're watching right now, the one that the podcast is on, Marcus Speaks, is my first channel. My second channel is Marcus Speaks Play, where I only have exclusive gameplay footage. Alright, you may see the gameplay footage here on this channel, but I only exclusively do it over there, and as well, Twitch. At the same name, Marcus Speaks Play, but it's all jumbled together the way you see it right there on the screen. So please check those links out that's in the description box below. I'm using Restream.com to stream this beautiful bean footage right here. The way that I used to do it, I used to stream practically every place that you read right there on that title card is where I used to do it from. But I said forget that. I'm only going to start doing this on YouTube. For some reason, it's probably cross-pollinating each other and they're Xing each other out. So I said I might as well just do it on YouTube. So, yes, I'm streaming live to YouTube to my first channel. If you have any sort of game recommendation, show recommendation, some sort of story recommendation, please let me know either in the live chat, which is right there at the bottom, or you can let me know either in the comments section, which is, if you watch a replay, what's up, Maul? Last of Us 2, I got you. I'll stream that one day. What else? Hit me up in the comment section on the replay if you're watching the replay as well. Hit me up in my DMs, alright? Just don't be weird. Just have something where you say, hey, I was watching the show, here's a recommendation. I don't want none of that weirdness in my DMs. The way you can do that is you can follow me on Instagram at marcus.speaks.podcast, as well as Facebook at Marcus Speaks, which is my personal page. My secondary, my page over there on Facebook is Marcus Speaks Podcast. The way you can find that is if you type in Marcus Speaks Podcast in the description, in the search bar, or in your address bar, your internet search address bar, type in www.facebook.com/Marcus Speaks PC. The M is capitalized in Marcus, the S is capitalized in Speaks, and the PC is capitalized as well. And I'm also on Twitter at Marcus Speaks 25, username Marcus Speaks Podcast. So please check those links out in the description box for me. Subscribe to me, follow me as well. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe. If you're new here, why not subscribe? Then hit that bell icon to all so you can get all of my notifications immediately. And leave a comment. Chat with me in the live chat. I will be be talking back to y'all. I will be posting your chats up like this. My homie Maul told me I should play Last of Us 2 on my game stream. And I might as well just do that. So, if you guys want to do that, and real quick, Maul, thank you for being here. I give you a round of applause. As well as everybody else who's watching right now, I give you a round of applause. Before I get into my show, this is what I like to do. So, when I make my points, when I'm going and I'm talking and I'm saying stuff and all that, some people may get lost in the sauce. But I try to make it as simple as possible. But when I make my points, I also have some sort of video to go along with it. Why? It's just to further my point, is to make you understand what I'm talking about. And the way that I can do that is because, YouTube and certain other places don't allow you to use copyrighted material. But it's a law around that. It's called fair use. I'm here to tell you about fair use right now. Hello, everyone. I'm going to tell you about fair use. It's the law. Warning. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyright motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107. All right, so oh my gosh, my boy Key Hello, everyone. Is in the building. Yo, what is happening, my nigga? Yo, the gang is in here tonight, man. I might have to have y'all come up here tonight. If y'all so choose. I'm just only asking. Y'all can always say no, all right? Tell everybody else about this. Share this out. Tell everybody what I'm doing. I'm doing this mighty nice podcast. So, to get into today's stuff, I want to just start off by saying I had a wonderful weekend. Not wonderful weekend yet. It's not done. But I had a wonderful week. Work week was cool. Everything was, on the up and up. But this week in I got y'all. Hold on, we put that up on the screen. Y'all will. Hey man, I whenever y'all want to, y'all let me know. The door's always open. All right. So as I was searching for things this week to talk about, because we almost didn't have a podcast this week. This is it. Hey, things happen. You when you go and search for things and stuff like that, things happen. So, but I was able to find some things, thank God. And man, one of the top stories, I like to break this up. When you see and more, I'm getting to the and more right now. The topics of the day I will be getting to, but today, if anybody hasn't heard anything that Joe Rogan has been doing on his podcast, which is a very good podcast, I suggest everybody to watch that. But Joe Rogan's been underneath some flack because of the things that he's been speaking about on his podcast. Now, I'm not as big as him, but I hope to be as big as him one day. He likes to ask questions to certain things, such as stuff that's going on in the world that he wants answers to, and me as well. And under all the flack that he's been getting, he also had some issues over at Spotify, where Neil Young wanted off from Spotify, which is weird. I don't know any Neil Young songs other than "Rockin' in the Free World." That's the only Neil Young song I know. But this is Joe Rogan not that one. This is Joe Rogan explaining his point of everything that's been happening. let's get into it. Hold up. Watching this point. One second. Oh, I see what's happening. All right. Here we go. Sorry.
To address some of the controversy that's been going on over the... Hello, friends. I wanted to make a video to address some of the controversy that's been going on over the past few days. And first of all, to say thank you to everyone that sent love and support. I truly, truly appreciate it. And it's been very nice to hear from you. I wanted to make this video, first of all, because I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do, maybe based on sound bites or based on headlines of articles that are disparaging. The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about 2 episodes, a little bit about some other ones, but specifically about 2. One with Dr. Peter McCullough and one with Dr. Robert Malone.
And I watched both of those.
Dr. Peter McCullough is a cardiologist, and he is the most published physician in his field in history. Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology and is at least partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines.
The jab that you guys get today.
Both these people are very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is. I had them on, and because of that, those episodes in particular, those episodes were labeled as being dangerous. They had dangerous misinformation in them.
Which they did not. They did not. Look, if you watch Joe, you know how methodical Joe is. Joe doesn't ask a dumb question. He does call himself an idiot at times, but he's not. He's a smart dude. He asks the questions that everyone wants to know, like myself. Me, myself personally, I'm not into getting the jabby jab. That's not what I do. I don't put foreign objects into my body, especially things that they cook up overnight. I don't do that. Plus it's part of my religious beliefs, so, you know, whatever. But that's besides the point. But Joe really asks those hard-hitting questions that, as you can see, even the U.S. government doesn't even want to answer. So, you know, it's even gotten as bad that the White House wants Joe Rogan censored his damn self. And it's like, where have we got to the point to where we're communist China right now? This is crazy. Like, only China censors speech that is censors speech to where some good information gets out or some information that may help the people. They don't want out. They censor it. They even have it to where some apps that they use over there get shut off at a certain time. We're in China right now. I'm about to learn Mandarin and Cantonese, so about to order that in the mail.
The problem I have with the term misinformation, especially today, is that many of the things that we thought of as misinformation just a short while ago are now accepted as fact. Like, for instance, 8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID, you would be removed from social media. They would ban you from certain platforms. Now, that's accepted as fact. If you said, I don't think cloth masks work, you would be banned from social media. Now, that's openly and repeatedly stated on CNN. If you said, I think it's possible that COVID-19 came from a lab, you'd be banned from many social media platforms. Now, that's on the cover of Newsweek.
Look, all the conspiracy theories people had in the beginning of 2020 is now conspiracy fact. Like it's crazy. Everything that we were speaking on in the little sections of the world, the dark sections of the internet, we've been talking about this. And once we knew that all of this stuff was going to come out, we was just waiting. Now everybody else got surprised, but I didn't, because I've known this stuff for the past 12 to 11 to 12 years. I've been known all of this was going to happen. But you take that type of information, you take it to a normal person, you'll get labeled as crazy. But that's besides the fact. Once the information comes out and people look at you as if, how the hell did you know? It's like, well, I've been reading up on this stuff since forever now. So how's it that you don't know any of this? But it's it's getting weird out here. I'm gonna let him finish. I think he has probably like 4 more minutes left, I think. So once I know where to stop it, then that's where I'll stop it.
All of those theories that at one point in time were banned were openly discussed by those two men that I had on my podcast that have been accused of dangerous misinformation. I do not know if they're right. I don't know, because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a person who sits down and talks to people and has conversations with them. Do I get things wrong? Absolutely, I get things wrong, but I try to correct them. Whenever I get something wrong, I try to correct it, because I'm interested in telling the truth. I'm interested in finding out what the truth is. And I'm interested in having interesting conversations with people that have differing opinions. I'm not interested in only talking to people that have one perspective. That's one of the reasons why I had Sanjay Gupta on, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who I respect very much. And
If you watch, I watched that interview as well. So I'm not going to give up a whole bunch of what happened, but I do suggest you guys watch all of these podcasts if they're still there, because the information I just got probably, I think it was like 6 hours ago, that some of Joe's podcast episodes have been taken down. And I'm pretty sure it is with, what do you say, Peter McCullough, the other guy, Sanjay Gupta's probably off of there. So, or if they're not, I suggest you guys do watch them soon, because, like I said, the Biden administration is trying to get those certain episodes down. So, I just lost train of thought, so I'll just let him keep talking.
enjoyed our conversation together. He has a different opinion than those men do. I had Dr. Michael Osterholm on at the very beginning of the pandemic. He is on President Biden's COVID-19 advisory board. I had Dr. Peter Hotez on, who is a vaccine expert. I'm interested in finding out what is correct, and I'm also finding out how people come to these conclusions and what the facts are. Now, because of this controversy, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things going on behind the scenes with these controversies, but Neil Young has removed his music from the platform of Spotify, and Joni Mitchell and apparently some other people want to as well.
India Ari and a couple other people. Yeah.
I'm very sorry that they feel that way. I most certainly don't want that. I'm a Neil Young fan. I've always been a Neil Young fan. I'll tell you a story at the end of this about that. One of the things that Spotify wants to do that I agree with is that at the beginning of these controversial podcasts, like specifically ones about COVID, is to put a disclaimer and say that you should speak with your physician, and that these people and the opinions that they express are contrary to the opinions of the consensus of experts, which I think is very important. Sure, have that on there. I'm very happy with that. Also, I think if there's anything that I've done that I could do better is have more experts with differing opinions right after I have the controversial ones. I would most certainly be open to doing that. And I would like to talk to some people that have differing opinions on those podcasts in the future. We'll see. I do all the scheduling myself, and I don't always get it.
All right, that's not important. So basically, he ended it off by saying that maybe there's something that he can do better. He asked for suggestions and stuff like that. From what I know, they started putting disclaimers on his controversial videos. So hey, it's a step. But yeah, that was that. So I have a few things to go over about this. I'm going to be reading from a paper.
Hi guys, I am headed.
Sorry. Damn, the next video just wants to play by itself. All right, so Joe Rogan backlash for his misinformation or disinformation. Joe Rogan has been criticized for helping spread misinformation on his podcast. So Spotify reportedly paid $100 million, which I believe was $110 million. I think they spent in 2020 for rights, but it really was the license of his show, not the rights of his show. To the Joe Rogan Experience, which is the streaming service top podcast. It is reportedly downloaded almost 200 million times a month. On the show, the U.S. broadcaster hosts a wide variety of guests who discuss views on a range of topics. But some episodes have featured false and misleading claims. Here are four of them fact checked. Now, I don't know who fact checks the fact checkers, but we'll just take their word for it, and I'll go over some of these things. Now, since the algorithm catches on certain words, I will be substituting those words, and I want you guys to use your brains to know what words I'm substituting. Here's a little exercise. If I say vacation, that's a substituted word for... Alright? If I say Coco-19, that is, you already know, just use your brain. Now, claim number one, a vacation can alter your genes. Mr. Rogan said, this is not a vacation. This is essentially a gene therapy, which it is. But this is not true. None of the Coco-19 vaccines change your genetic material or DNA. But can they explain the blood clots? Just asking, I'm not a doctor. Essentially, the recipe book contains the instructions of how to build how to build your body. The vacation made by them P people, not the P people, but the P company, I should really say, and the M company. Harness a different molecule called messenger RNA. If DNA is the blueprint, RNA is the messenger, carrying instructions to your cells. In the case of Coco-19 vacations, the message to your cell is to turn the RNA into a piece of the V spike protein. That's what fires your immune system up to start producing antibodies in other cells to fight off the V. When the message has been received, the RNA from the V is broken down and disposed of. It doesn't interact with your own genetic material. Now, y'all ask me this question. Let me ask y'all this question. And I'm not really, I love science, but I just like watching science. I like watching scientific things every now and again. Oh man, I just messed that code up. Hold up, y'all. So if these vaccines use a certain technology that also interacts with our body, that 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 sends a message from your RNA to then dispose of spike proteins, right? So how would it not? Is it working with the immune system, or is it working and rewriting the immune system? Because how would you explain the blood clots? How would you explain people having heart attacks? How would you explain people falling out, passing out? How would you explain deaths? It's supposed to help, correct? How's it not helping if that's what it's written for? If that's if the recipe in the vacation is supposed to essentially help the person get over said sickness, how's it doing all these things to people? Now I do understand that certain things that a person is going through, such as being obese, having other ailments and stuff like that. I see that is a problem with having this vacation. But wouldn't a doctor just let the person know? Because as I've spoken on before in some podcast episodes, most doctors don't allow their patients, or they'll tell their patients not to take the vacation. There's certain people who have walked out of hold on. There's certain people that has walked out from their jobs. Certain doctors who have walked out from their jobs. So I just want to know if anybody else hold on, y'all. All right. I'm sorry. I'm interacting with my sister. She's doing my taxes. But sorry. I just want to know that that information. Now, let's get to this second part. Cling 2. Now, this medicine I am substituting for the simple fact that I can't say it on here either. Like, it's a list of things I can't say, so I try to get around most of this stuff. So Cling 2. Iversuntin, if you know what the medicine is called, can cure COVID-19. This claim was made on an episode last year featuring Brett Weinstein, an American author and professor of biology, who said iversuntin also is capable of driving the pathogen to extinction. BBC Reality Check looked at the series of research papers claiming to show the effectiveness of this drug in treating COVID-19. Many were very low quality, and in some cases, the data had been clearly manipulated. If you look only at rigorously carried out studies, there is no evidence on the drug's effectiveness. Campaigners often cherry-pick positive explanations, ignore the fact that many countries which replied heavy on iversuntin, like Brazil and Peru, had some of the worst death tolls from the VIG. The world-leading experts on reviewing medical evidence, Cochrane concluded, based on just these reliable trails, that there was insufficient evidence to recommend the drug. Now, it's been shown by Joe himself that it works. Now, that's just one person. Tyrone Jackson. Hold on, let me bring that on screen and I'll read it out loud. The Moderna and Pfizer alleged trails have explicitly acknowledged that their gene therapy technology has no impact on viral infections or transmissions whatsoever. Dr. David E. Martin. Okay, well, and this is coming. Dr. David E. Martin. So this is what we'll do, people. Where can I find that information? All right. What would be the most reliable source? Factcheck.org, maybe? But who's fact-checking the fact-checkers, like I said earlier? So, let me pull this over for y'all. Alright, so, do this, do that, no, hold on. Alright, let me get myself out of here. Alright, it says, if you guys can follow along, new pandemic video peddles misinformation conspiracies. It's not the right one. Okay, no, never mind. I'll have to get back to this. Because I do, Tyrone Jackson, I do take your word on that. Because we all know that it doesn't work. We all know this. So. All right. Where was I? So claim 3. If you get vacation after having had COVID-19, you're at greater risk of harmful side effects. One of Mr. Rogan's most controversial guests has been the virologist Robert Malone. Mr. Malone, he's a doctor. I don't even know why they call him Mr. All right. So Dr. Malone was banned from Twitter in December last year, which, if you watch the episode, Joe asked him why, and he says it was done the day before he came to the show. Last year for violating its COVID-19 misinformation policies. He appeared on Mr. Rogan's podcast shortly afterwards. Among the misleading claims, remember, Rodney King was not beaten by the cops, according to the media, until the video emerged. You goddamn right. Goddamn right about that. Let's see, where was that? He appeared on Mr. Rogan's podcast shortly after. Among the misleading claims made in this podcast episode was one suggesting people who are vacationed after having COVID-19 are at greater risk at adverse side effects. I said some of the side effects, but you know. Following his appearance, more than 270 people, mostly doctors, which most of them were like veterinarians, dentists, and what else? And some doctors that weren't even practicing anymore. So that's the funny part. and healthcare professionals signed a letter to Spotify calling for cocoa misinformation to be addressed. Robust studies so far have shown that a very small number of conditions, blood clots, heart inflammation, are slightly more likely after certain vacations, although are still very rare. In one UK study, researchers find that vacations after effects were more common in those who already had COVID-19. However, this study only looked at mild after effects such as fatigue, chills, and headaches. Here we go with the with YouTube coming over here trying to peek. Look, YouTube. If you want to shut the video down, just shut the video down. Like it's that simple. Uh, Hold up. I suggest that you read the insert, the info that comes with each vax from the manufacturer. It methodically lists the dozens of side effects, mostly inflammation syndrome symptoms. You said syndromes. What am I looking at that I have to do? Oh yeah, I gotta lock it. All right. So this is Hold on, I played that already. All right. So claim number 4. For young people, the health risks for the vacation are greater than from COVID-19. Mr. Rogan said, I don't think it's true there's an increased risk of myocarditis from people catching COVID-19 that are young. Versus the risk from the vacation. Myocarditis is an inflammation of the heart muscle that has been raised as a rare side effect of a vacation or of the vacation. However, research has shown that the conditions which can lead to the shortness of breath, chest pain, and in very rare cases, heart failure is considerably more common after a COVID-19 infection than after a vacation. As as is also the case with blood clots. It also appears that cases of myocarditis post vacation are generally milder and shorter lasting. Mr. Mr. Rogan later corrected himself, but has made several other comments suggesting young people shouldn't be vacation as they are low at risk from COVID-19, which is true. Like uh, my nephew's been going to school for like the past how long has he been in school? What, 7 months now? And he hasn't caught it yet. And I'm pretty sure kids at his school, or if not kids that the people that those kids know, has probably had it already. So if he hasn't been infected, and probably most of those kids haven't been infected, I'm just making an observation. I'm not saying that this is true or not. How's it that, young people that we have yet to see yet has gotten this? Now, Gloria Miller says, let me bring you up. You said 2 things, so I'm gonna bring both of them up. So Gloria Miller says, doctor approved. At the time of its recall, Vioxx had been taken by 4 million Americans. The arthritis drug may have caused 140,000, I was about to say million, sorry, heart attacks, resulting in 60,000 deaths. FDA investigator Graham. Then you also say, hold on, I gotta do something before I say the next thing, because YouTube is tripping right now. So, second thing you say is in November 2007, Merrick announced that it would pay 4.85 billion to resolve claims that its inflammatory medication Vioxx cause heart attacks, including sudden cardiac death and strokes. And they've talked about that as well. Like it's like it's crazy out here right now. Like it's crazy. Now where was I? It's certainly the case that young people are at much lower risk of serious illness from COVID-19, but they are not at zero risk of developing complications, which is true. COVID-19 itself has been found to be a bigger risk than vaxes in every age group for which they have been approved. The vaxes, particularly after a booster, can also reduce your chances of catching the V and therefore passing it on to others, which is a lie. I don't understand why they feel as though that's the truth. When there's more information out here that says otherwise. It's crazy. It's crazy out here in these streets. Now, let's move on to the next story. If you guys haven't found out or haven't looked at your television screen, phone screen, anything, Miss USA 2019, which was, I would say, a great year for pageant participants, because that year, I think, had an all-black pageant winners, such as Miss USA was an African-American woman. Where else? I think Brazil as well. Somewhere in Europe, and I forgot where else. But that whole year were black winners. Black winners, and Miss Teen USA was also black as well. But this is a tragedy because how you say her name? Celeste Chris. Miss USA 2019, 30 allegedly jumped to her death from her Manhattan skyscraper, which this is sad. Miss Chris, who won the 2019 Miss USA pageant and worked as a correspondent for the entertainment news television show Extra, died in New York City on last Sunday. She was 30 years old. Police told the Washington Post that Chris was pronounced dead after apparently jumping from an apartment building in Manhattan early Sunday morning. Chris' family confirmed her death in a statement. In devastation and great sorrow, we share the passing of our beloved Chelsea. I said Celeste. What the hell is wrong with me? Or Chesley, how you say her names? Can somebody write out phonetically how her name sounds for me? The statement said her great light was on this her great light was one that inspired others around the world with her beauty and strength. She cared, she loved, she laughed, and she shined. I'll just say Chesley until somebody phonetically writes her name out for me. Embodied love and served others, whether through her work as an attorney fighting for social justice, as Miss USA, and as a host on Extra, but most importantly, as a daughter, sister, friend, mentor, and colleague. We know her impact will live on. Unlike most pageant queens, Chris had already established a high-powered professional career when she won Miss USA with her law degree and an MBA from Wake Forest University. Chris was working as an attorney in North Carolina when she entered the 2019 competition. Her resume and stage presence dazzled judges and earned her legions of fans. And her victory was a highlight in a historic year that saw black women win all 5 major beauty pageants. Chris won her crown on top of her natural curls, a decision she hoped would empower other women to feel confident wearing their hair natural. She said in an interview with Refinery 29, and there she was, a history of the Miss USA pageant published last year. Post editor Amy, I'm not going to say her last name, wrote that the moment marked a triumph for the movement of African American women trying to overturn the rigid old beauty standard that forced generations into painful conformity of flat ironing or chemically straightening their hair. And Post columnist Christine Emba wrote that Chris' crown could be a force by which stereotypes can be corrected and misunderstandings change. Chris was among the pageant winners, shouted out by then Senator Kamala Harris, who said of her and her fellow champions, "You are trailblazers, creating your own path on your own terms. Congratulations." During the Q&A portion of the Miss USA contest, Chris did not shy away from potentially inflammatory subjects, addressing the Me Too movement and other social justice social injustice anyway, let's keep going. I don't think these movements have gone too far, Chris said then. What Me Too and Time's Up are about are making sure that we foster safe and inclusive workplaces in our country. As an attorney, that's exactly what I want to hear. That's exactly what I want to hear. Where am I at? And that's exactly what I want from this country. After she won, Chris joined Extra as a correspondent, someone the national syndicated shows produced praised as a moment-making machine. "Our hearts are broken," the show's staff said in a statement after her death. Chris was not just a vital part of our show, she was a beloved part of our Extra family and touched the entire staff. Our deepest condolences to all her family and friends. Chris was born in Michigan and moved to the Carolinas as a child, eventually attending the University of South Carolina, where she competed as a Division I track and field athlete and graduated from the business school. She went on to earn her law and graduate degrees at Wake Forest. As a lawyer, Chris took on pro bono legal work for incarcerated people fighting unjust prison sentences, once helping free a man who faced life in prison for a low-level drug crime. She started a fashion blog on the side dedicated to helping women find affordable workwear. Chris, fellow Miss USA 2019 contestant Tiana, I'm not going to say her last name because I do not know how to say it, said in an interview Sunday that Chris really did just have a light about her. She streamed live workouts with her mother after the pandemic hit, even if friends hadn't talked to her in a while. What's her name again? Tiana said they knew she had their back. Tiana, 29, was the first national Miss USA contestant of Samoan descent, the Associated Press reported at the time. She is also part African American and has spoken about the joy the joy and weight of representing many people as a mixed girl on stage. For anyone who is looking for a role model in pageantry, Chris would be that. Specifically for any black girl who wanted to compete, Tiana said she was our Miss USA. Tiana, who represented Nevada in the national competition. Hold on, what year? No, okay, I'm sorry. Her last year's Miss Nevada and 2020's Miss Nevada just got mixed up in my head. Because y'all know who Miss Nevada was last year, then you already know what the hell I'm talking about. So who represented Nevada in the national competition that year? She said we'll return Chris as a quiet, funny, and supportive person who was incredibly busy. She kept in touch with Miss USA contestants in an active group chat. In Instagram posts on Sunday, other 2019 Miss USA contestants paid tribute to our sister, our friend, our role model, our Miss USA. You are a vibrant, strong, and beautiful light, said the statement, signed by the pageant's 2019 class. You inspired us beyond measure. Your impact will be forever remembered. Tiana wrote of Chris, I have always prided myself in saying that I share not only a stage with you, but a sister. You you are historical, grateful, uplifting. God knew what he was doing, blessing us to experience your beautiful big hair, bright beam of light, she wrote. So, what I want to share right now is, that's the wrong one, is Celeste's or I should have known what the hell her name was. Hopefully they say it in here. But this is her final extra interview of this year. So let's go to it.
All right, guys, I am headed in to interview Alan Ritchson, who is stepping into some pretty legendary shoes, those of Tom Cruise, as Alan takes over as the new Jack Reacher.
The last interview she did for us was with Alan Ritchson. It's really nice to see the two of them together because they both are on the cusp of, you see these two great talents who are on the cusp of making a bigger and bigger mark in this business.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, Alan, you are super fit in this series. I don't know how you eat Hardee's and stay that fit. How many hours do you have to put away at the gym to be in shape for this role?
Never enough, it seems. It took a lot of work to put on 30 pounds for the role.
Oh, gee, 33 pounds, that's how much muscle you put on for the role?
Yeah.
Richardson is going to be a huge star, and there's Chesley, who was just, gosh, she got better.
Okay, Chesley. I was saying it right the first time then. All right, cool.
And better and better. I mean,
What was your last text?
one of the last texts I sent her, Chesley, Bushman here. Been doing this a while. Watching the feed right now, you are hitting a real stride. Natural, great energy. Keep rocking. She said, thanks, Billy. That really means a lot to me. I've been listening to feedback and working hard to improve. Glad to be on this incredible team.
I posted a picture of her in my office when she came out, and I had that LGD pillow right on my couch. She looked at it, and then I had one of those pillows that you could write your name in. So I saw her over there, and I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm etching my name in your pillow so that literally you will never forget me.
I think you're talking about this, right? You're supposed to say Chesley. Right?
That's exactly what she did. Oh, Billy.
Oh, boy.
Now her name is etched on our hearts forever.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra.
All right. Everybody, I would like to send out a deep condolences to the family, and I'll make sure I'll say a prayer later. But if you're thinking about suicide, or if you're worried about a loved one or a friend or something, or would like emotional support, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. All right? So please, if you are thinking about any sort of violence against yourself, or if you know of anyone who is doing it, please call that line, help them out, help yourself out. All right, you don't need to live life alone. All right, people should be hearing your problems one way or another. They shouldn't have to hear about your death or going to your funeral and then knowing what happened. All right, that's sad, man. All right, people, who's ready to get in today's show? Y'all ready? Is y'all ready?
Damn, son, where'd you find this? This is a certified hood classic.
All right. Canadian trucker convoy descends on Ottawa, Canada, to protest vacation mandates. Just like there in Canada, also here in the U.S., they want truckers who work alone, essentially, to get the V. I don't understand this. Like, yeah, I understand they're going to be going to dock to each company and docking up and going to port and stuff like that, but I don't feel as though that entails them to get a V or even have it mandated. Like, it makes no sense. Now, we take some time out. Hey, if you're still here and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hit that bell icon as well, and hit all so you can immediately get all of my notifications once I go live. And please like this video and share this video. If you could, share the channel as well. Alright? And please don't forget, leave a comment. But yeah, I forgot to do that. I forgot to get back from my sister. What she say? Hold on, y'all. All right. All right. So what I want to do right now, I want to show what's been going on out there in them Ottawa streets. Here we go.
It started before the sun was up, first in the east.
There's no hate speech, there's no we and they, there's no vax and anti-vax. It's the freedom to choose our own destiny.
Truckers came from Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland, gathering first in Nova Scotia. Only around a dozen trucks, but a couple hundred people showed up to support them. They picked up more in New Brunswick before heading to Ontario. It began as a protest supporting truckers against vaccine mandates.
Oh, I'm grateful. I wouldn't expect so many people.
That's led to a warning in the nation's capital. In an email obtained by CBC News, the Sergeant-at-Arms responsible for parliamentary security told MPs protesters might show up at their homes. This is known as doxing, a process of finding and publishing personal information about a particular individual on the internet, usually with malicious intent, he wrote.
Everybody has their own reasons why they're here, whether it's, to get rid of mandates, whether it's for freedom, whatever it is.
The Canadian Trucking Alliance says it is opposed to the convoy, but support is growing across the country and online. $6 million and counting has been raised. GoFundMe was holding it back until organizers could produce a plan. But today...
Hold up, which they said that GoFundMe has taken that down. And I believe they've taken it away. So I'm not sure if GoFundMe has stole that money or if they have gave all that money back to the donators. I don't know yet.
$1 million to cover fuel costs.
So it's awesome. It, by God, it's bringing a lot of people together. Unity is what we need in this country.
Ottawa police say they are preparing, but they don't know how many protesters might show up or how long they might stay.
Saturday, until everyone leaves there, I'll be there. I'm stacked. I have everything there. I got food, I got water, and I'm going to wait it out.
Demanding the federal government reverse the vaccine mandate. The government says it will not back down. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
The convoy is attracting supporters with a wide range of views, some more extreme than others, including some Americans with massive platforms. Katie Nicholson has that part of the story.
It may have started with some truckers upset by the cross-border vaccine mandate, but it's morphed into a rallying cry for people with a variety of grievances.
Stop forcing this needle into us. We don't want it. We don't need it.
Ranging from anti-government to anti-mask viewpoints.
Remove the muzzle. The mask doesn't protect against any stupid little virus.
Freedom is a repeated refrain. Those who keep tabs on the spread of misinformation online say it's a trend.
We're seeing the phrase freedom of expression being used in the context of efforts to fight misinformation. And what they're really doing is they're using these ideologically appealing notions in order to push misinformation.
The convoy even picking up endorsements from some with huge international platforms who faced criticism for spreading COVID-19 misinformation. Like Elon Musk tweeting, "Canadian truckers rule," and podcaster Joe Rogan.
It's a giant convoy of trucks that's apparently some insane amount of people, like 50,000 trucks.
Well, perhaps not that many trucks.
This is really hard to put a number on, but I will say this. There have been claims that there will be 50,000 big rigs, and that's just not viable.
And there's frustration from truckers not in the protest.
I have had drivers call me repeatedly today saying that they're frustrated that they can't go about doing their job because the minority's ruling the day on the road.
He says roughly 90% of the trucking industry is fully vaccinated.
This has been hijacked by some people that are not directly related to the trucking industry. And I'd rather say to them, go have your own party and your own protest and let us go about doing our jobs.
The convoy is set to roll into Ottawa on Saturday. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, politicians are taking part in the conversation over the convoy, and in the past 48 hours, starkly different messages coming from the federal government and the opposition.
The question is, why would Prime Minister Trudeau not stand up for working people? The convoy itself is becoming a symbol of the fatigue and the division we're seeing in this country.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are...
They said he left the country because he was sick, but yeah, let's keep going.
Holding unacceptable views.
Justin Trudeau has faced criticism for the tone of those comments. Meanwhile, Aaron O'Toole said tonight that he'll meet with some of the truckers in the convoy. Let's bring in Chief Political Correspondent with CBC News, Rosemary Barton, to talk about the politics of support. And Rosie, what is Aaron O'Toole's strategy here?
Well, as you said, Ian, he has said that he'll meet with part of the convoy, though he's not going to do that on Parliament Hill, and he really wants it to be with truckers. He's trying to position himself very much as defender of Canadian workers. At the same time, tonight he made it clear he was not. He wanted to see no violence at this event. He is in many ways trying to have it always with all sides. He's for vaccines, but against vaccine mandates. That's been his position for some time. But he has also made it clear he wants to stand up for fundamental principles for the Conservative Party, personal choice and freedom. But But as he calls for politicians to take down the temperature, he then has members of his own caucus using really inflammatory language about this issue, calling it a vaccine vendetta. The former leader Andrew Scheer saying Justin Trudeau is, quote, the biggest threat to freedom in Canada. So a lot of what is happening here with Aaron O'Toole has a lot to do with growing calls for his leadership review too.
And on the flip side, the Prime Minister has faced criticism for his statement yesterday.
Yeah, this is the other side of the politics. How closely can the government connect this convoy to the Conservatives? That certainly worked for them, that kind of thing during the election. There is a risk here that those comments fuel the frustration some people are obviously feeling. The other risk is that they seem insensitive to the people whose lives are actually being affected by vaccine mandates, by losing their jobs or having their jobs changed. I think the calculation from the government here is that the political risk for the Prime Minister is very small because the overwhelming majority of Canadians support mandates, and of course, most Canadians are also vaccinated.
So 2 schools are being accused of banning books after one in Washington.
All right, sorry, that's the next topic. So, let me send this comment out. All right, so thousands of protesters gathered in front of Canada's Parliament on last Saturday in a raucous demonstration, which began as a movement by truckers to challenge a government vacation mandate, but spread to include a wide array of anti-government grievances. A loosely organized freedom convoy of trucks set out last weekend from the western province of British Columbia. The convoy ebbed and flowed in size on the way to Ottawa, the capital, where the police were bracing for what they said would be an unpredictable weekend of protests. Tennis star, I'm not there yet, but once I am there, you can tell me something what you think about it. All right, but right now I'm still on the Ottawa protest. All right, I don't want anybody going too far off yet. I'm not there yet, but once I'm there, I want you to tell me how you feel. Oh, where the hell was I? Okay, the convoy was organized. Hold on, wasn't there yet. British Columbia. Okay, yeah, the convoy was organized in response to regulations implemented this month that requires trucks returning from the United States to show proof of vacation. But in recent days, it has broadened to include Canadians critical of pandemic restrictions in general, and of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Some people who may not have been involved with the convoy itself called for an attack on Parliament similar to January 6, 2021, storming of the U.S. Capitol. It was not the same. I don't understand how people are trying to put that foolishness. Well, really, it wasn't really foolishness because them white folks were trying to get themselves some freedom. So, but it's not the same. All right, they're just trying to say, "Hey, we won't stand for this," and that's it. It's only right. Such calls for violence have been denounced by the convoy's organizers as well as by many of the protesters on the streets. Despite fears that the demonstration could turn violent by Saturday evening, the police said there has been no significant incidents. Private cars and pickup trucks greatly outnumbered the heavy trucks that made up the convoy in its first days. Throughout Saturday, the vehicles clogged the streets in and around Parliament. Most of them bearing flags of signs denouncing public health measures related to the peony. Thousands of protesters who fought, many carrying handmade signs on hockey sticks. wandered through the parked vehicles in the slow-moving traffic, or gathered on the lawn in front of Parliament. Some of them carried Canadian flags upside down. At least one flag had swastikas drawn on it. I don't know where that comes from, but whatever. The air was filled with diesel fumes and the sound of honking horns. Few people appeared to follow Ontario's rules requiring social distancing and masks at crowded outdoor gatherings. Watching over it all was a large contingent of police, Parliament, security officers. The Ottawa police force was supplemented by officers from towns hundreds of miles away, as well as the Ontario provincial police and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The protests were loud and freewheeling by generally peaceful and poorly organized. One group affiliated with the convoy intended to try for a second time to convince the Governor General, Canada's official and ceremonial head of state, as Queen Elizabeth's representative, and the appointed members of the Senate to strike down all the demic laws and rules imposed by all levels of government, sometimes well beyond their constitutional powers. Others called for protests outside politician homes. I wonder if it's the same for them like it is for us. If the cops get called on them if they're outside of an official's house. Because the House of Commons is currently not in session, it resumes sitting on Monday. Many lawmakers were not in town. Several Canadian news outlets reported that Mr. Trudeau and his family had been moved out of their official residence by Royal Canadian Mounted Police as a precaution. They said he was sick. The police force declined to comment on the reports, citing security concerns. Organizers raised about 8 million Canadian dollars, or 6.3 million, on GoFundMe during the convoy's cross-country trip. The police towed some vehicles that had been parked on the site of National War Memorial. Jim Watson, Ottawa's mayor, said those protesters had disrespected the country's war dead. The Freedom Convoy was organized by Tamara Lich. Lich. All right. Secretary of the relatively new Maverick Party. I have no idea what the hell that means. I guess it's a political party in Canada. A right of center group that was started to promote the Sorry, y'all. I'm texting my sister back and forth because she's doing my taxes. Okay, a right of center group that was started to promote the separation of Canada. Canada's three western prairie provinces from the rest of the country, while Miss Leach's convoy campaign was separate from her work in the Maverick Party. Jay Hill, the party's interim leader, said the convoy had tapped into what he believed to be widespread sentiment of Canada against pandemic restrictions. This thing has really taken on a life of its own, said Mr. Hill, a former Conservative member of Parliament who lives in Alberta. The vast majority of the people that have either come on board to participate in the truck convoy or those donating to support it financially has just reached a point of frustration and exacerbation. With these lockdowns and continuation of restrictions that want someone to speak up and say enough to the federal government, but opinion polls have consistently shown strong support in Canada for public health measures to limit the spread of the Rona, which have mostly been imposed by provisional government. Now, I got one thing to say before I keep going. Where was that at? Yeah, Canada's been locked down more times than what we have in many other places around the world, other than Australia. I'm pretty sure it's Germany, and is China one of them too? Which Trudeau and his family is very fond of the Communist Party of China. Just putting some information out there. You can thank his dad for that, for his business dealings, but that's neither here nor there. Where was I at? Lead them by conservation. Okay, more than 77% of Canadians are fully vacation. Several people in the crowd on Saturday said they believe vaccines were potentially harmful and ineffective, despite overwhelming scientific evidence to the contrary. Mr. Trudeau has called the protest a small fringe minority. He has repeatedly said that 90% of Canada's truckers are vacationed, as assessment shared by the Canadian Trucking Alliance, a trade group that opposes the protest. On Saturday, that group issued a statement indicating that the protesters did not represent the views of most truckers. I might have to cut the fluff out of this because this is going on way too long. Now, where am I? Okay, so let me speed read this real fast. Okay, the requirement does not apply to the vast majority of the country's more than 300,000 truckers who drive domestic routes. The protesters and several conservative members of Parliament have blamed the new mandate for shortages of goods. Now, vacation mandates for ship crews, railways, and airline workers have been in effect since October 30th. On January 15th, they were extended to truck drivers returning from the United States, which is weird. His statement was of the guy of the Truckers Alliance. We ask the Canadian public to be aware that many of the people you see and hear in media reports do not have connections to the trucking industries. It said. So you probably noticed some empty shelves at your grocery store, not just in Canada, but here in the U.S. as well. Aaron O'Toole, the leader of Conservative Party, said in an online video posted on Thursday, that's because Justin Trudeau put in place a mandate that all truckers entering their country, either Canadian or American, have to be fully vacation. Now, who is texting? All right, sorry. But David Soberman, a professor who studies logistics at the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto, said that empty shelves in Canadian shops were mostly linked to other factors like global shortage of shipping containers, because people are turning shipping containers into houses and all kinds of crazy stuff. Hey, Russian person, please. This isn't the podcast. Please stop texting that foolishness. All right. Let me skip over some of this. Distribution and the production of some products in a lack of employees to replenish shelves because of the bugs infections. Mr. Trudeau has made it clear that the protest will not lead his government to reverse the vax mandate. In any case, doing so would have no practical effect. The United States made vax mandatory for Canadian truckers crossing its border as of January 22nd. Omar Al-Gabra, the transport minister, told the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, the CBC, on Friday that there had been no meaningful decline. Was that decline or incline? Decline in cross-border truck traffic since either country's vacation mandate was put in place. The protesters' next steps were unclear. As the sun sets on the bitterly cold day, the crowd had noticeably thinned because it's cold as hell in Canada. Some of those who remained still, a significant number, vowed to stay until the cross-border vax mandate was removed. At some point, the organizers, if we can call them that, have to say, all right, it's time to move on and allow the people of Ottawa to get back to some sense of normalcy. Mr. Watson, the mayor, told City News Ottawa, a broadcaster. All right. So that is that story. Thank God I'm done with that, because it's just a bunch of foolishness going on around the world when it comes to the V being around the world and all the other foolishness. Like I said a couple podcasts ago, Joe Biden's speech before Christmas was a bunch of foolishness of him telling us that it's going to be, what do you call it, the dark winter? Which is weird that he would say that. But it's an election year for the Senate, so they stopped talking that foolishness a long time ago. So, we are going to get into this Whoopi Goldberg thing and everything that she had to say about it. Now, let me preface this like this, and then I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back and we're going to get into this. Anything that I say when it comes to this topic is my thoughts and my thoughts alone. All right? Has nothing to do with any groups I'm affiliated with or anything that I've heard. Is what I feel and what I know as well too. So, I will come back with that, and we'll continue this good podcast. So I'll be right back. Let's take a quick break, everybody. Let's pee. Let's get something to drink. Let's come back in 5 minutes. Yeah, check it. Yeah, check it. Give it to your girlfriend butt naked. Know what I'm saying? Alright, let's get serious. I need the right beat to start this with. Nah, not that one. Nah, not that one either. I might just have to pick it. Hold on. Where's it at? It's the one that I usually play before I start my show. Here it goes. Alright. Let me call down these African gods real fast. Shango, I need you. Oye, I need you. Ogun, Oshun. I need all y'all right now. Now, Whoopi Goldberg suspended from The View for her views. Now, Tennis Star, start writing. I want to know everything that you have to say about this. So, talk show host and actor Whoopi Goldberg has been suspended from The View for 2 weeks for saying the Holocaust isn't about race on Monday's episode. Let's play this wonderful bean footage because a lot of people's been getting this misconstrued. Let's actually hear what she says when she speaks on this. Let's go.
So 2 schools are being accused of banning books after one in Washington state pulled To Kill a Mockingbird off their required reading list after complaints from students and parents, including a former black student who said it made her uncomfortable, and a Tennessee school pulled the graphic novel Mouse out of their lessons on the Holocaust because it contained some nudity and some bad language. Personally, I'm shocked because, given the story of Mouse, I'm surprised that that's what made you uncomfortable. The fact that there was some nudity and it's about the Holocaust, the killing of 6 million people, but that didn't bother you. But the naked.
I'm not sure that they don't use the naked part as a kind of a canard to throw you off from the fact that they don't like history that makes white people look bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is white people doing it to white people.
Yeah.
So this is, y'all go fight amongst yourselves, but don't,
Well, and look at what kids watch these days and the music they listen to.
Now, as you can see with her banter, she was very, not really making fun, but making light of the situation. Or whatever. Because although the Holocaust was a horrible event that happened, she was making light of how the students felt, because these days, these kids are freaking, I can't even tell you, these kids can't even look at their own shadow without being frightened or feeling some type of way of how it looks or whatever. But let's keep going.
To say that when proving or showing them a work of history or art or something that happened is bad language or nudity, turn off reality TV, turn off the radio, turn off everything they're doing, because kids are exposed to this stuff really early in inappropriate situations, not ones where you're learning or teaching.
Yeah, and the nudity is a drawing of his mom who died during the Holocaust.
Yeah.
I mean, in Mouse, which is the other thing. It's just insane.
But I don't know what's going on.
Story
It's about the words.
It's about the N word.
Yes,
The girl is
it's about
triggered
the
in the
words.
class by the word.
Because if you're sitting amongst lots of students and you're reading it out loud, it comes up a lot.
Yes, it does. I remember reading some story in school where, shit. I said, man, can I get all the parts that have the N-word in it? Because I don't feel comfortable with anybody else in there saying it or whatever. But let me do this real fast, y'all. Can you please like this video, share this video, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to all. And don't forget to leave a comment. And in the description box, hit all those links. Follow me, subscribe to my channels, do what you have to do. Thank you. Now, I'll let them continue.
Makes people uncomfortable.
And especially if you're the only black
kid
student
in this,
there. I
and
mean,
so that was what they're talking about attributing. I don't know if that should stop people from having it as reading, but it's stopping as required reading.
Well, there's an entire bill moving through the Florida legislature right now about banning any conversation in schools that make people feel uncomfortable because of their race or gender. And there's also in Florida.
What? What the hell are they talking about? Why? Everybody's different. Although we are the same, we all are different. Just to let y'all know, kids.
Bill banning talking about LGBTQ conversations. It's being referred to as "Don't Say Gay." So I don't know what's happening with all of this banning going on. You know, we talked about Beloved being banned, Mao's To Kill a Mockingbird, conversations. I think it's making it very difficult to teach kids. And all these people who talk about and complain about people being snowflakes, how do you not raise snowflakes if you don't expose them to reality?
right? This was the plan with these anti-history laws that started being passed, these alleged CRT laws that started being passed. I don't think people saw far enough into the future. You start banning discussions about race, then you start banning discussions about the Holocaust, then you start banning discussions about the LGBTQ community.
Let's not bring up how they don't talk about Black History Month in school anymore. It's not even something that gets brought up. It's just regular teaching, which I do say. Black History Month in school is a bunch of foolishness, I would say. At a time, I was meeting with like some parents in my neighborhood. I had asked them because one of the guys was a commissioner for the town. And I was like, is it possible that you guys could speak to the Board of Education in talks of them getting maybe in this district finding some African American studies professors from college, pay them just for the month, and teach African American history, other than slavery, other than Martin Luther King, other than Rosa Parks. Like, give them the full thing. Just don't give them the foolishness. Give them the real stuff. But They said no, so I said forget it. Because it's not really the school's it's not really the school's responsibility to teach kids, and I would say black kids, African American history. It's not, or black history. It's up to the parents, African American parents, white parents, to teach them. Well, I would say have a couple white friends come over your house. Like I know some things about black history, so you know, I try to at least embellish what I know to my niece and nephews. Like I at least try to tell them some things that aren't in that they weren't taught and that I wasn't taught in school. Stuff that I've learned over the years in the books that I've collected as well. Hell, I got a whole bookshelf full of black history and stuff like that. I would pull it out, but it'll take too much time. But I'll let them continue what they're talking about, so we can get to the actual point of Whoopi Goldberg and what she said.
That's where it started, and this was all very planned, and in my view. And what bothers me the most is people saying, I don't want my children to be uncomfortable. Well, how about your children being uncomfortable and in a way of learning empathy, in a way of learning sorrow, in a way of being able to empathize with other people's plights? I've always said if my children are subjected to racism at a very early age, which they are, then your child should be okay with having a little bit of discomfort and learning about the racism that exists.
I observe that young children are naturally empathetic.
Yeah.
And that the empathy is kind of drained out of them by their parents and things that they hear out there.
True.
It's that song. It's the
You
song
gotta
that
be
Barbara.
carefully
That's
taught
right.
from South Pacific.
Yeah.
You know, my grandson, I remember when he was around 3 or 4 years old, there was a kid who was in trouble for some reason, and I mean, it gives me chills. My grandson put his arm around the kid, like, I'm with you. And when you talk about empathy, children are naturally like that.
Well, it's the parents.
And if you...
All children will play with each other. Pause. All children will play with each other. If a kid, like, just look at when, like, a toddler that can walk sees another toddler in a store somewhere that can also walk. What happens? Let's say one of the children were black, one child was black, one child was white or Asian, or you can mix up the colors of the kids. They're curious. They're gonna walk up to each other. They're gonna hug each other. They're gonna laugh and do all kinds of stuff with each other. Just by sight alone. They don't know what race is. They don't know what prejudice are. They don't know none of that. They just see another kid that's as small as them, and they're like, "Wow, another child! I didn't know that there was more out there like that." And they're curious. They walk up and they just start talking baby language if they can't talk. They'll just and that's even with infants too. When they see children bigger than them, they'll look and be like, wow, I want to do that too, but I can't move. Like, I'll go off of what most of them said. It's the parents, really. And this is even with the CRT stuff. And I feel like I'm a proponent of CRT because we do need to learn the true history of this country. That's essentially what that teaching was. It's not to have black people hate white people or whatever. It's to actually teach the real history of this country. That is both white history, black history, Indian or Native American history, and so on and so forth. Like, it's to tell the truth about history, not the watered down shit that they give us, which, if you guys don't know, I covered CRT in a podcast where basically I said there's no mandate in this country to teach history and there's no mandate in this country of what to teach in history. It's just they teach history. They give us what they feel as though we should learn, and that's colleges, high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, or grade schools. They'll say, like, there's no mandate of this is what we teach, and that's it. Every state has its own curriculum when it comes to history. So, like, people being against CRT, I don't understand. But let's keep going.
Takes a white kid, what happened to his friend who happens to be black, he might feel terrible about what happened. That doesn't mean he feels bad that he did something.
Exactly.
This is a confusion that they're creating, I believe.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that colleges, this all started in colleges and universities and not wanting to make kids uncomfortable. And we talked about it once here on the show with actually Van Jones when he said, if I send my kids to school, I want them to be uncomfortable. I want people to push back on their beliefs because otherwise we're not preparing kids to go out to the real world. We're preparing them for a world that doesn't exist outside of their own house.
Well, also
exactly. This is what school was supposed to be. Not us sitting down all day, listening to a teacher teach all day and stuff like that, and answering foolish questions about things that's already in the book, and we can just search the answers in the back of the textbook. It's to challenge our beliefs of what we believe in. That's what school essentially was for. But that was until black people entered in to the school system, when it became a law. That's when, we need some way to have them be just like us. That's why black folks have no history here. Well, I wouldn't say no history. We don't have any sort of culture here. Our culture is American culture. Although we are Americans, I denounce me being American a long time ago. But essentially we are Americans, but we have a different history than any other American here. Although some Americans, such as Asian Americans, or I would say Japanese Americans, Chinese Americans as well, Native Americans, and so on and so forth, all have a different history of their entrance into this country. So there is a culture of some sort that each group has. So why are we not being able to learn from each other instead of hating each other? Because I tell you now, to this day, I don't have any white friends. I don't. I've dated many white girls, but I have yet to call them any of my friends. They're acquaintances, but I wouldn't call them my friends. Well, I wouldn't say many white girls. I can count on one hand. It's only 4 fingers. So it's ridiculous how that the country is where it is now, where we can't even ask questions about certain things. That's why I like my job so much. We have such a diverse group of people: white, black, LGBT. We have all kinds of people. So I'm able to sit and ask questions. Either if it's disrespectful, I tell them I mean no harm when I ask this. I just want to know. The only thing that I hate about my job that we don't have who do the same job that I do, or another manufacturing job, we don't have any Asians there. If we do, they're in they're in engineer spots or head of a department or something. There aren't any Asian workers that I work with, other than engineers and stuff like that. Because I would love to ask them about the beauties of their culture and stuff like that. Not saying that I can't ask the engineers and stuff, but I would like to be able to sit down every day and ask them if they're acquainted with their culture. What are the beauties of their culture and stuff like that. I want to know. I'm inquisitive, and I have a wider range of things that I would love to know about the Asian culture. Because with the Stop Asian Hate thing, I knew that they were lying when it came to black folks. For the simple fact that black people love Asian culture, like, despite what they've said in the news, we love Asian culture. But I'll let them get to what Whoopi has to say, and that's when I'm gonna turn the heat up.
If you're going to do this, then let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race. No. It's not about race. It's about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
Boom. This is the part that everybody has misconstrued all over the news. Even those Jews that got her suspended and saying that they want to re-educate her on things that she doesn't know. But if you heard what she said, instead of hearing what you wanted to hear, then she wouldn't be in the predicament that we're in, and we wouldn't be talking about this. Now, something like this happened to another celebrity, Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon said that black people are the real Jews. That's what Nick Cannon said. Which, where did he lie? Because as far as my understanding goes, when it comes to Jewish people, get the ish off of it, and then you will be fully what you say that you are. So, the religion of what they found back in, what was that damn dynasty? Jesus, it was right in the cusp of before the Crusades, before... Damn, I forgot. But the very man well, not the very man, but the people who founded the Jewish religion, it was a dead religion because people who are melanated like myself left that shit to die, and we went off to do something else. If you want to talk about the Holocaust, Jewish people, why do you always just talk about the Holocaust? Within time, even in your Torah, it has to where Egypt, and you have Egypt as one of your enemies. They imprisoned and enslaved Jewish people, correct? So why is it that your focus is just on something that happened for what? 5, maybe 7 years, to something that happened for like thousands? But that was Egyptians at the time, which were dark melanated people like myself, who enslaved other dark melanated people like myself. So the very thing that Whoopi Goldberg is saying is that it's not about race, which it isn't. It's about man's inhumanity to man, which means one race of people did something to another race of people, which if you take the race out of it, it's one human being doing something to another human being, which is foul. So why is it that Whoopi Goldberg has to be fucking... She's being slandered in the goddamn news because one group has their ass in a fucking knot for the simple fact that each time this Jewish shit pops up, they want to say something about it because it's in their doctrine of what they say, never forget. But they view themselves in the light of their enemy, which will be the Nazi German army and people, of which Germany has apologized for this shit many times over. If you ever ask a German person about part in their history, they apologize for that shit. So why is it that Whoopi Goldberg, which has a Jewish last name, Goldberg, why is it that she's being slandered in the news for trying to tell people that one thing a man did, man, meaning a group, did to another group of people was downright bullshit and it was fucked up? That's what she's saying. But everybody want to be like, no, well, what she really meant was this, and I'm tired of black people trying to confuse Jewish people's experience to their experience because it's not the same. Hell, we had a Holocaust of our own that we dealt with. Several. But one of the ones that we bring up mostly, because, this is the only one that we get to hear about all the time, is the enslavement of black people all over the fucking world. And it just wasn't the Christian white man who did that shit. It was also the fucking Arabs, the nomads of their land. They're not from there, from the Middle East. That was a barren fucking wasteland until they got there. So why is it that we're sitting here trying to debate who the fuck is right when what Nick Cannon said was right and what Whoopi Goldberg is saying right the fuck now is right as well? So, any Jewish people who's watching this, please write in the fucking comment section and let me know how you feel. For the simple fact that I'm sitting here telling you the goddamn truth, you just don't want to fucking have the, and I said I wouldn't cuss on this podcast no more, but hell, I'm on one right now. You just don't want to hear the truth about your goddamn religion of what you say who you are as a race. I didn't know a religious person could be a race the way that your enemy saw you as. So if that's the case, why don't black people see themselves as slaves? We've been freed a long time ago. It's been 400 plus years. 500 almost. But that would be fucking foolish if we did that. But we're sitting here fucking with a black woman who basically does not need this job. She's doing this out of the kindness of her heart for Barbara Walters, who is the producer of this show. She doesn't need, what was it, the 100,000 or something like that she gets a week? She doesn't need that shit. She can go on the road for that shit if she wants to. Have you seen Whoopi Goldberg's comedy? It's thought-provoking. And the very same thing that she said on this show will be the very same goddamn thing she would say on a comedy stage. No bullshit. It's not like they're not making no goddamn sense. I've been watching everybody who has had something to say about this shit for all week. All goddamn week. And everybody has gotten it wrong. Everybody has gotten it wrong. Their goddamn focus was on something that she didn't even say. It was something. How do you get what she said and get your ass tied up for something that she didn't say? It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. I'll let her continue.
That's what it's about.
But it's about white supremacy. It's about
but
going
it's
after
not, it's
Jews
not about
and
race.
gypsies and
but these are two
Roma.
white groups of people.
Well, they
How
go
do we
after black
They
people
didn't see
too.
them as white people.
And they were
But you're
after
missing the
homosexuals.
point. You're
Yeah.
missing the point.
Yeah.
The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this
Hold on. Yeah, hold on.
alley. Let's talk.
Boom. I'll let her reiterate that.
White
And they were
But
after
you're missing the
homosexuals.
point. You're
Yeah.
missing the point.
Yeah.
The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this alley. Let's talk about it for what it is. It's how.
Boom. no way, shape, or form was she saying anything about race. She took race the fuck out of it. Take race out of it. That's what the hell she said. Is man's inhumanity to man. Take slavery of any sort. The Arab slavery of black people, the Egyptians enslaving other black people, whites enslaving black people. Let's take the Jewish people, the Holocaust, of which we have learned wasn't Hitler's mother a Jewish woman, but he hated Jewish people. That was the propaganda that he spread in Mein Kampf, where he basically said, if you spread propaganda about a certain group, the masses will then believe in it. Is that not what he did? But you're telling us never forget. No, you never forget of the bullshit of which you speak. You see yourself in the eyes of your enemy. I don't. I give a fuck what somebody has to say when it comes to black people. Have all your colorful commentary when it comes to black folks. But just know, you gotta watch us on TV in sports. You gotta watch us on TV when it comes to hosting television shows. You have to see us at award ceremonies. And I don't see how we can have these ceremonies and the black people fucking cry about them not winning awards. That's the reason why there's a BET. There's a reason why that there's an NAACP, which I don't believe in none of that bullshit, for the simple fact the NAACP was started by some Jewish people. BET was fucking funded by a black man that then sold it to a Jewish company called CBS Viacom. There ain't shit on fucking BET for me to watch no more. Teen Summit's not on there no more for my nephews and niece to look at. There isn't positive black role models on BET no more. I don't watch that shit. Neither do I watch what's some of the popular black TV shows. Love and Hip Hop, Growing Up Hip Hop, all this other bullshit. Motherfuckers fighting and shit. Let's not get into the internet when it comes to motherfuckers. The only thing that was on, and still is, on certain websites. What's the black-owned website? Not all hip hop. Worldstar.com had nothing but black people fighting other black people, and that motherfucker was making millions. Now, some people may say, well, Marcus, why are you turning this into a race thing now? Because they turned it into a race thing, not me. I have no qualms about what she said. Because what she said was actually right. Let's keep going.
People treat each other. It's a problem. It doesn't matter if you're black or white, because black, white, Jews, everybody eats each other. So is it, if you're uncomfortable, if you hear about mouse, should you be worried? Should your child say, oh my God, I wonder if that's me? No, that's not what they're going to say. They're going to say, I don't want to be like that.
Well, hopefully.
I want to be cool.
Yeah.
And
Most kids, they don't want to be cruel.
No, they don't.
And we're living in an era where people are comparing vaccine cards to the yellow stars, where people are comparing vaccinations to what Anne Frank went through.
Yeah.
So it is necessary for kids to learn about
about man's inhumanity to man, however it exposes itself. I have to cut you off.
I just want to say that mouse was banned and it flew to top 20 of Amazon's rules last week.
Hey guys.
All right. I'm gonna have that white woman come up next. So let's get into this real fast. Her suspension from The View was announced in a statement released by U.S. network ABC News on Tuesday night after Goldberg issued a public apology. Effective immediately, I am suspending Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks for her wrong and hurtful comments. Kim Godwin, or good is it Goodwin or Godwin? President of ABC News wrote in the statement, while Whoopi has apologized, I've asked her to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. The entire ABC News organization stands in solidarity with our Jewish colleagues, friends, family, and communities. Goldberg has yet to comment on her suspension. Variety report that the decision to suspend Goldberg was made in hold on. All right. In Variety report, the decision to suspend Goldberg was made in consultation with the highest tiers of management at Disney, which owns ABC News. Goldberg made the comments during a discussion about a Tennessee school board decision to ban the Pulitzer Prize winning Holocaust graphic novel Mouse. Let's be truthful, the Holocaust isn't about race. It's not. It's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about. These are two groups of white people, she said on The View on Monday. She continued, you're missing the point. Let's talk about it for what it really is. It's really about how people treat each other. That's the part that they missed. It's a problem. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Jews, everybody eats each other. The Auschwitz Memorial and StopAntisemitism.org are among organizations that have condemned her comments, with Jonathan Jonathan Greenblatt from the Anti-Defamation League calling her comments dangerous. The Nazis regarded Jewish people as an inferior race and a threat to Aryan Germans. Racist ideology was used to justify the annihilation of anyone with Jewish heritage, regardless of their religious beliefs and practice. Hitler himself described Jewish people as a race, not a religion, in Mein Kampf. In a statement posted on Twitter the same day, Goldberg offered her sincerest apologies. She wrote, on today's show, I said the Holocaust isn't about race, but about man's inhumanity to man. I should have said it. I should have said it is about both. I stand corrected. The Jewish people are around the world have always had my support and that will never waver. I am sorry for the hurt I caused. After her apology, Greenblatt publicly thanked Goldberg for acknowledging the Holocaust for what it was. He then appeared with Goldberg during the start of Tuesday's episode of the View, during which he again apologized. Now we're going to get to this white lady that has something to say about what Whoopi said.
Erin here, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about a really important topic that's come up a lot recently, and that is whether or not Judaism is a race, and are Jewish people a race. So I wanted to share my thoughts with you on this. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Marian, and I make videos about Jewish life and life as a Jewish mom. So if you like this one, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up to let me know, and hit that red subscribe button down below to see more. So you might have seen recently that Whoopi Goldberg on The View made some controversial remarks about the Holocaust and said that it was just white versus white and that it had nothing to do.
That's not what she said, bitch.
With race. And this was deeply, deeply offensive to the Jewish people, not only because it was right after Holocaust Remembrance Day, also because her words, intentionally or not, gaslit many Jewish people and their experience and their family's experience of the deep pain and trauma caused by the Holocaust. So I don't want to define Judaism as a race or not based on the Holocaust, but I do want to start with this point because Whoopi Goldberg's comments and comments after the comments are about this issue. So in specifically reference to the Holocaust, Hitler's entire agenda was that the Aryan race was supreme, and that's why the Jewish people needed to be wiped out. So purely from a Holocaust perspective, the Nazis...
Can we really take what an idiot had to say as truth? Because obviously Hitler was suffering from some sort of mental disorder, wasn't he? Just asking.
Absolutely believed that Jewish people were their own race and therefore needed to be exterminated. So Whoopi Goldberg's comments showed a huge disregard for the...
Although they said that Hitler was supposed to be this smart person, I don't believe it. Why do we take what he says as truth? Just asking.
So 2 schools.
Hey guys, Marian here. Welcome back to my... It was right after Holocaust Remembrance Day. Also because her words, intentionally or not, gaslit many Jewish people and their experience and their family's experience of the deep pain and trauma caused by the Holocaust. So I don't want to define Judaism as a race or not based on the Holocaust, but I do want to start with this point because Whoopi Goldberg's comments and comments after the comments are about this issue. So in specifically reference to the Holocaust, Hitler's entire agenda was that the Aryan race was supreme, and that's why the Jewish people needed to be wiped out. So purely from a Holocaust perspective, the Nazis absolutely believed that Jewish people were their own race and therefore needed to be exterminated. So Whoopi Goldberg's comments showed a huge disregard for the actual historical context of the Holocaust. And the reason that is so painful and disturbing is because many people, because there's been now 1, 2, 3 generations since the Holocaust, there's so much misinformation out there. Children aren't studying in schools anymore. And the biggest fear is that what we don't learn from the mistakes of our past could happen again. So that's why it's so important to teach the correct...
But why does the Jews feel that way, that what happened to them could happen again? Why do they feel that way? I want to know, like, for real, why do they feel this way? Everyone knows of what happened to you around the world. And they all know that by you saying never forget and the things that you talk about when it comes to it, that you guys have a way of how you guys conduct yourselves, despite the Hasidic Jews and how they act, but you guys have a way of how you guys act when it comes to this sort of information getting out there. How would it happen to you guys again if everyone who talks about Jewish people may have a lawsuit coming their way? Now, although, you have some idiotic, crazy people who come and shoot up synagogues and stuff like that, but how do you feel as though that this could happen to you again? And what you guys saying, you don't give an explanation of how you think it will happen again. So, you want us to take your word when it comes to your history, but then you guys don't explain what you say when it comes to certain statements you make. I just want to know if you guys think like that, should African Americans and all other black people around the world think that slavery can happen to them again? Oh, I'm sorry, it already happens. I forgot. when you go to jail, 13th Amendment, slavery will be abolished unless imprisoned. That's when you become a slave. Just wait. If y'all felt that this taxing on shit and inflation was bad, what if debtor's jail comes back? Oh, with that, can't pay, go to jail. I'll let this go for another 30 seconds because she ain't talking about shit.
History of the Holocaust, and that people know the truth. And I think, millions of people watch Whoopi Goldberg on The View and might now be misinformed by things that she said. Also, there was a big question as to why she would say this. Like, what was the intent of differentiating Jews between a race and not a race? And to me, her comment was to say that Black people and the hurt that they have suffered in history is somehow different, or that they shouldn't care about Jewish pain. And to me, that sort of divisive energy and thought is just not helpful to anyone. So whether or not Whoopi Goldberg happens to consider Jewish people a race or happens to think about the Holocaust in a certain way, only serves to divide everyone and all people who are suffering.
Sorry about that.
What? What? I'm glad I'm done with this. She was making my head hurt. Now, where was I? Whoopi Goldberg's apologies. The U.S. talk show host and actor Whoopi Goldberg has offered her sincerest apologies after saying the Holocaust isn't about race. I won't read her apology again. Let's move on. She made the comment. Hold on. Yeah, she made the comments on the TV show during a discussion about Tennessee school board's decision to ban a Pulitzer Prize-winning Holocaust graphic novel. In a statement posted on Twitter, Goldberg said on today's show, I said, yeah, whatever. As Jonathan Greenblatt from the Anti-Defamation League shared, the Holocaust was about the Nazi systematic annihilation of the Jewish people, who they deemed to be an inferior race. I stand corrected. Whatever. In the original decision, Goldberg said, let's be truthful. The Holocaust isn't about race. Blah, 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 blah. It's about... hold on. Her comments were condemned by campaigners as dangerous. Responding to apology, Greenblatt thanked Goldberg for acknowledging the Holocaust for what it is. Thanks, Whoopi Goldberg, for correcting our prior statement and acknowledging the hashtag Holocaust for what it is, he tweeted. As hashtag anti-Semitic, blah, blah, blah. I'm so fucking pissed off right now. Anti-Semitic Semitism, surged to historic levels. I hope we can work together to combat ignorance of the horrific crime and the hate that threatens all. You know what? Let me piss some Jewish people off real fast. Can y'all please pick up the book that was written? I forgot the author, but the way you can find it, it's a 2-part book. It's called The Secret Between Blacks and Jews. You can find it on the Nation of Islam website. StopAntisemitism.org said Goldberg's comments had minimized the trauma and suffering caused by the atrocity. Newsflash, Whoopi Goldberg. 6 million of us were gassed, starved, and massacred because we were deemed an inferior race by Nazis. Damn, that shit sounds it sounds like another atrocity that happened. Let's keep going. The organization wrote, how dare you minimize our trauma and suffering? Is that the next one? Nah, I got these out of order. All right.
Not going very well.
All right, so I got this next video for you guys.
The ladies at The View. Whoopi Goldberg reportedly threatening to quit after getting suspended from the show.
Actually, no, I did have it right. Okay, sorry. Here we go. So, Whoopi Goldberg threatens to quit The View. Let's get into it.
Going very well for the ladies at The View. Whoopi Goldberg reportedly threatening to quit after getting suspended from the show for 2 weeks over her comment about the Holocaust. Whoopi's co-hosts are said to be furious with the decision. Here's how the show very briefly addressed it today.
You all saw the news. Whoopi will be back here in 2 weeks. Okay?
That's it.
Joy had a hard on for that because if you guys didn't know, Joy Behar is a Jewish woman, and she got her asshole tied in a knot when Whoopi made those statements. Now she's jumping for joy on the show. I don't understand. Let's keep going.
Is that how you do it, Dana?
Well, having done that a couple times in my career, look, I think that's what the producers must have said.
Yep.
Hit it and get out and move on, and that's what they have to do. I don't know anybody who was calling for her to be fired that I know of, that I listen to, that I follow. But I imagine that inside ABC News, or ABC, excuse me, the outcry amongst the employees and the staff must have been high enough that the executive said, we have to do something. Right. They felt compelled that they had to do something. The apology made it worse. And so setting that aside, so they make a decision, they suspend her for 2 weeks. She's probably furious about it. She's going to sit there and you think, it's like, what did they say? We want her to go back and reflect on it. Like when your mom sent you to your room and she's like, are you ready to come out yet? And my sister would always say, no, I love my room. But I would be mortified. I hated to have to be sent to my room. So that's the kind of punishment that's like when you're a kid. That's what you feel.
What about you, Judge? Do you think she understands what she did wrong, and now that she's facing suspension, she's like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to quit?
Yeah, she may quit. I don't know. I don't have a hotline to Whoopi these days. But here's the thing. She doesn't know that she was wrong. Mm-hmm.
How was she wrong? Let's keep going.
He said, as white race, all oppressors, and blacks are the victims. Okay, but
that's not what she said, white lady.
Aside from that, the whole idea of her needing time to reflect and learn, I think is very important. I really do. Because when you have anti-Semitic behavior, a lot of it is ignorance. They don't understand the enormity of one of the greatest hate crimes the world has ever seen. And when I was DA, all the DAs from New York State down to the Holocaust Museum in Washington. You want to see evidence of a hate crime, go to the Holocaust Museum. Go to Simon Wiesenthal. Learn about the pain. Learn what a swastika does to someone who is The
swastika was actually an Egyptian symbol. Egypt's in Africa, which makes it an African symbol. Hitler took it, made it into a hate, into a symbol of hate, in which, if you look at the hieroglyphics, I said it right that time. Hitler actually flipped it. What the hell is it called? I might as well bring this up to you guys. What is the... Hold on. Damn, they redacted a lot of information on this damn website. Okay. Poster promptly placed Nazi swastika and other reminders of Adolf Hitler, Third Reich on display at the theater. Someone said blah. Marking behind the Egypt showing the cabaret, the classic musical. Okay, hold on. Said the police did not plan to take action. Okay, this is not the right thing I'm looking for. And I had pulled this up for a girlfriend at one point because we had a argument about this shit, and I told her that the symbol came from Egypt. Swastika is a symbol that is almost 3,000 years old. It has been used by different civilizations in India, China, Japan, Egypt, and parts of Europe. You can also find it in houses in Indonesia. Moreover, it has been in use by Hindu, Jains, and Buddhists for generations. Pottery found in Africa also has swastikas engraved. It is known by various names all over the world. Swastika in India, Wan in China, the Gamadian in Greece, and the Haken Kuritz in Germany. I hope I said that right. Let's see. Changing the meaning. I don't care about that. I want to. Okay, now she's choose the Egyptian swastika. As history suggests, the 19th century German scholar found. That's distracting me. German scholars found great similarities between ancient India's Sanskrit and German texts. They believe the Indian and German share an ancient warrior lineage called the Aryan. Yeah, this idea was promoted widely, hence giving the fascists a sense of pride. Therefore, Hitler decided that the Nazis needed to have this symbol as a representation of their struggle. He mentioned in his lengthy fascist discourse letter, though after the Hakenkuritz went on to become one of the most hated symbols in history, owing the Hitler's atrocities. See why Hitler hated Jews. We're about to get to that in a minute. In ancient Chinese cultures, the direction of the swastika was interchangeable. However, in many other cultures, it is not so. Swastika is drawn in a clockwise direction in believed to bring prosperity and happiness. The swastika is drawn in an anti-clockwise direction and known to bring misfortune and ill health. Let's see. Let's go to why Hitler hated Jews. I'll veer off for a minute. He blamed them for economic crisis. Hitler believed the Jews were the ones who caused the economic crisis in Germany, which resulted in depression. I forgot to bring this up too. How can I swing this? Matter of fact, I'll take myself off so you guys can see. He blamed them for a loss of World War I. Hitler blamed the Jews for the loss of World War I. He believed that Germans were stabbed in the back by Jews and that's why they lost the war. His master race theory. Hitler believed that only white people or Nordic descent were worthy to be called a master race. Some people believe that Hitler hated Jews because they looked different. He believed they manipulated Americans, British, and Russians. He believed they got too much economic influence. He believed they were disloyal and untrustworthy. This sounds like everything of a madman would think. We have a few of those in this country as well. They would be remain nameless right now. He could have blamed his personal failures of them. He believed they caused war. He believed they are biologically different. Hitler believed the Jews are biologically different. He believed that a person is born a Jew and that this makes him inferior. Sounds mad. That's why I like the internet. You get to learn. Now, let's get back to what I was originally looking for. Maybe I should answer a different question. Let's see. If we don't get it here, I'm about to go to Wiki after this. What is symbol? Boom, there's one of them. That's on one of the Egyptian walls. The oldest known symbol, the swastika, is an ancient symbol that has been used over 3,000 years. I said that already. Even the ancient Egyptian symbol, the Honk. Predating even the ancient Egyptian symbol, the Honk. Artifacts such as pottery and coins from ancient Troy show the swastika was a commonly used symbol as far back as 1000 BCE. They don't want to give Egypt its credit right now. The word swastika comes from the Sanskrit svastika. Su mean good, asti mean to be, and ka as a suffix. Until the Nazi adopted the swastika, was used by many cultures throughout the past 3,000 years to represent life, sun, power, strength, and good luck. Now, one thing. Okay, we're about to go to Wiki because damn, they don't like giving Egypt its props. All right. Swastika is also seen in Egypt during the Coptic period. Textile number T23. Okay, that's not worth anything. Design. The piece was found at near. Yeah, but it had a name. It had a name. Everybody else's homework assignment is to show me what the hell the name of this damn what the swastika this let me say it in the German text. The swastika they don't like to give Egypt its props at all. These are many things that's been used throughout the years. Or millennia, really. Okay, here we go. Europe. No one cares. Let me go back up. Europe, America, Africa. Swastika can be various cultures in Ethiopia. That's where it was first found, in Ethiopia. It's carved in the window of the famous 12th century rock hymn church in Ghana. The swastika is among the Adinkra symbols. I have one as well. I showed y'all before. One of the African Adinkra symbols. God Supreme, the Jinami, right here. Hold on, y'all can't see me. Right here, one of the African Adinkra symbols, Jinami. All right. That's another one. Now, in the Akan people called Nakama. Swastika could be found as Ashanti gold weights in clothing. Now, think for some of the Akan people called. Here's the name right here. Content. Y'all see that? Oh, here it goes right here. Content right here, the one that I got highlighted. Content. That is the original name of this damn symbol, not the swastika. All right? Let me get out of here. All right. Damn, I spent about 20 minutes on that.
Survivor of the Holocaust. I mean, they don't understand it. It's just I can't believe that she has any idea of the harm that statement caused a lot of people.
So ABC's got to be thinking, could we cut her loose after 2 weeks? She's got a hefty salary. She could be damaged goods. Gutfeld, what would you do if you were running ABC?
Oh man, unicorns 24/7, buddy. They should be applauding her. This is a historical first for The View. She said the Holocaust wasn't about race. This is the first time in The View's history where they said something wasn't about race. So I don't know. If you're looking for an analogy that will piss you off, remember how Chris Harrison got fired from The Bachelor? Yeah. Except what he said or did was nothing compared to this. Having said that, even though she enjoys liberal privilege, it's interesting. If you think about liberal privilege too much, you come to this conclusion that you have fewer rights than liberals do. In the world of free speech, there are just things we can't say because we'll get canned. So and it's something that people don't really understand or talk about it. But just think if you at home change your political ideology to be a liberal and think about the things that you could say. Mm-hmm. It opens up a whole new world.
It's enticing.
It is enticing. If you want to sell out, let's do it for 1 week. But she apologized. So that's what makes us different. We're accepting her apology. Joy and company sulked over this, even though just a few days before, Joy was saying Rogan cannot be reformed, and they love getting people canceled. The last thing I want to say is that she did do a service by illustrating the core racist belief of critical race thinking. She did it by accident. The CRT cult cannot acknowledge Jewish suffering because that undermines the hierarchy of oppression. The top of the oppression has to be white. It's just like the food pyramid. We're like the fats.
What's that word that they use? It's intersectionality.
Yes.
Wow. That's a first for the five. All right, Harold. It doesn't seem to be like a huge. There's not people outside ABC with signs. Whoopi must be fired. This has to be coming from the inside.
So I hope. Say three quick things. I hope that those on The View and others who have a special.
Is that a black dude?
Us for people to be fired and have really embraced cancel culture, recognize this is the reason you can't embrace cancel culture. 2, I disagree with you, Judge. I think she realized what she did was wrong. And I think she learned. I think whenever you apologize for something and you're sincere, especially if it has to do with gender and race and culture, and you say, you know what, I didn't realize I was talking about a race, that race was actually a part. I'm glad the Anti-Defamation League had called her and explained to her that I actually believe she was telling the truth there. Now, she learned cancel culture has to end. And I hope not only The View, but every show. James Carville has said this over and over again, particularly to my party, those progressives in my party and others who at any slight want to fire someone. Not only want to fire them, want to banish them from ever being able to have a voice or presence again. It should all stop. And hopefully maybe with Whoopi's suspension, this is one of the positive things that comes from it.
Well, I love the fact that you're so peaceful. You're a peaceful man, and that you like to think that she is redeemed. I don't know how she got redeemed between Stephen Colbert the next morning, but what I think is interesting is that the co-hosts are furious that she would.
Hold on, you guys are getting lagged. 1 second.
Not going very well for the ladies at The View.
They should be that you have, but she apologized. CRT cult cannot acknowledge Jewish suffering.
So I'm just saying.
What the hell did I just do?
Cannot acknowledge Jewish suffering because that undermines the hierarchy of.
That was a first for the five.
Here, go. James Carville has said once again, This is one of the positive.
And that you like to think that she is redeemed. I don't know how she got redeemed between Stephen Colbert the next morning, but what I think is interesting is that the co-hosts are furious that she was put on suspension for 2 weeks.
You love it, don't you, Judge? Because they were so mean to you on that show.
They were mean to me on the show, but here's the thing. How do they survive without Whoopi?
Yeah.
They couldn't even say pre-planned vacation.
Whoopi goes to CNN as the new CEO.
I like that. I like that.
With Joe Rogan.
With Joe Rogan.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
All right. He was talking crazy. Now, a source says Whoopi Goldberg is livid. After being suspended from claiming that the Holocaust was, what the fuck ever, and is considering quitting The View. On Monday, the actress claimed that the whole, she said that. After being suspended by ABC for 2 weeks over her comments, sources say Goldberg is upset and threatening to leave The View altogether. According to the New York Post, a well-placed insider close to Goldberg says that host is livid about her 2-week suspension and feels humiliated. She's now reportedly telling co-workers she is going to quit the show. She feels ABC executives mishandled this, the inside source told the New York Post. She followed their playbook. She went on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert and then apologized again on The View the next day. It's because they was getting so much heat. That's why they suspended her. The source added that while Goldberg has told multiple people that she is threatening to leave the daytime talk show, it is likely because her ego has been hurt. No, it has not. And she is trying to cope with the suspension. Goldberg's comments on Monday came as the panel was discussing Mel's Pulitzer Prize-winning graphic novel about the Holocaust that had recently been banned from class curriculum by Tennessee's school board. On the very first page of Mel's sits a quote from Adolf Hitler, who said himself, "The Jews are undoubtedly a race, but they are not human." Goldberg's insinuation that the Holocaust was not about race drew ire from many, causing ABC to hand the 66-year-old comedian a suspension. In a statement, ABC News President Kim Godwin wrote, "Effective immediately, I am suspending Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks from her wrong and hurtful comments. While Whoopi has apologized, I asked her to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. The entire ABC News organization stands in solidarity with our Jewish colleagues, friends, family, and communities." Now, this is the second part to this that I put in. It's not just Whoopi Goldberg. Americans are deeply misinformed about the Holocaust. On Tuesday, Whoopi Goldberg was suspended from The View for stating, with striking confidence that the Holocaust, blah, 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 blah. She made the statement just days after National Holocaust Remembrance Day, when celebrities and politicians around the world had remembered the darkest period in world history, the racist genocide of 6 million Jews, roughly 2/3 of European Jewry, by Nazi Germany. Most emphasize the importance of remembering the horrific part of history to ensure never again. Goldberg's comments were also made a week after a Tennessee school board banned the Pulitzer Prize Holocaust graphic novel Mouse from schools. While Goldberg's ignorance of Holocaust is painful, it is far from striking. Many Americans cannot even remember the Holocaust because they don't know what it is. Now, I know I said that I put this in, but it was part of this article that I was reading, so I thought that it went with this. So, for instance, in 2018, poll by the Pew Research Center found that just 62% of Americans know that the Holocaust refers to the extermination of Jews. Almost half, 49%, know that 6 million Jews were killed. Although these numbers are up from 1993, where they were 54% and 35%. Other polls confirm that knowledge remains limited at best. Come on, Jewish people, you want us to know about this shit. Why don't you just start teaching this shit? So, why am I throwing so much shade? The 2020 Pew edition of What Americans Know About the Holocaust finds the most U.S. adults know what the Holocaust was and approximately when it happened, but fewer than half can correctly answer multiple choice questions about the number of Jews who were murdered, or the way Adolf Hitler came to power. He stole it. Anyway. There is little difference in terms of age, gender, partisanship, or region. But race differences are quite big, with black people having an average of 1.2 of the 4 questions correct, Hispanics 1.7, and white people 2.5. Obviously, this is strongly related to the level of education, another important variable to explain differences, as is whether you know someone who is Jewish. I'm saying I knew a chick that was Jewish, but she didn't talk about her shit. Plus, the only thing that we learn in school is just the Holocaust. We don't learn about what y'all did beforehand. Y'all's coming into Europe. We don't learn about that. All we learn is the Holocaust. I remember going to the Holocaust Museum when I was, what was I, middle school when I went? The only thing that I found that was interesting was a pile of shoes. All right. Well, since we don't know what the Holocaust is, well, why don't we learn?
What is a Jew? That question is confusing, not just to non-Jews, but often to Jews themselves. Are Jews a race, a religion, a nation, a people, a family, a culture? Many people would say they're all of the above. And the reality is the Jewish people are all of the above except for one of those, a race. How do we know the Jewish people are not a race? Because if you look at Jews from around the world, especially if you visit the land of Israel, you'll see that Jews come in all size, shapes, and colors. And besides that fact, anyone can join the Jewish people. If it was a racial definition, you can't join a race. But being a Jew is not just a national identity, and it's not just a religious identity. It's not just like being American or French or English or Russian, and it's not just like being a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist. It's both. There's a national component and a religious component to the Jewish people. There is a faith, but even a Jew who's not observant, who professes to not even believe in God, is still part of the Jewish people. And there's also a national component. But even a Jew who lives in Israel who's not observant is still part of the Jewish people. So it's complicated, but it's a combination of both. But the Jewish people are definitely a nation. The Jewish people have a land, a language, and a history. Ironically, we would say the Jewish people may have less of those things than most nations, Yes, the Jewish people have a land, and yes, there's been a Jewish state for 70 plus years. But for the last 2,000 years, the majority of the Jewish people have lived in a diaspora outside the land of Israel. Yes, the Jewish people have a language, Hebrew. But for more than 2,000 years, Hebrew was not a dead language, but it wasn't a spoken language. Only recently has it been resurrected as the national language of the Jewish state. And yes, the Jewish people have a history. But for thousands of years, Jews scattered around the world had very different histories from each other. But interestingly enough, to find people as old as the Jewish people who have survived, because if you look in history books, there are many ancient people. If you read the Bible, Hyksos, Phoenicians, Assyrians, Babylonians, Mycenaeans, where are all these people today? They're gone. If you want to visit them, you have to go to a museum or a history book. So ironically, the Jewish people, the Jewish nation, that has had such a crazy history and has spent so much of its time as a nation scattered around the world, is one of the oldest surviving nations on the planet Earth. Back in the land of Israel today, after 2,000 years of exile, the Jewish people have taken a licking, but they kept on ticking. I'm Ken Spiro, and you're watching JTV.
All right. Well, we know a little something about the Jewish people now. This is one thing I didn't share, what happened to me this week. So I had a meeting with one of my leads at my job, and he asked me about my podcast. So if you're watching this, hope you got everything that you wanted, because this is what I do outside of work. Research, and then I display it. And then I don't talk about what I've talked about already. So, if you have any questions, put them in the comments section. Please don't ask me to come to a meeting, because I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, everybody, this has been quite a ride, and I enjoyed it. So, man, what did we learn today? A lot of people are dumb. That's all I know. A lot of people are freaking dumb. So, let me close out of these tabs so I can close the show up, because we have reached the end point of this beautiful podcast of mine. But yeah, what did we learn? What did we learn so far? I guess nothing. But anyway, let me do this real fast. Let me get my theme music in here. Man, if you've been watching this the whole time, I thank you. And, please don't forget, Marcus Speaks Live on Saturdays. This is my podcast, people. Please tune in. Everyone who was here, please don't forget, like this video, share this video, and subscribe. As well, on Fridays, I do a game stream called Marcus Speaks Play. I also have a channel of the same name, and a Twitch channel of the same name as well, where I only exclusively do gameplay footage. So if you're interested, come on by. So, podcast comes on my main channel on Saturdays, as well as the game stream too, but also have a secondary channel called Marcus Speaks Play. If you're just into watching games, people play games, but if you're not into the whole podcast thing, that's what that channel is for. So if you could, link is in the description below, as well as my Twitch channel link is also in the description below. So don't be shy, go over there and follow. I'm using Restream.com to broadcast this beautiful being footage. I am not being paid to say this, but just because I like it. Because some people like Streamlabs, some people like StreamYard, some people forgot how bit something or stream vids or whatever. I like Restream. Restream mess that all up. The only thing, Restream, if you're watching it, you can do with these pop-ups at the bottom, you can make sure y'all get scrolling text. Alright? Hold on. If y'all can, please let me know if you have a story recommendation, something that I can present during the show, or a game recommendation that you guys want me to play, or if you have a show idea or recommendation, something I can do during the shows. Let me know either in the live chat, the comment section on the replay, or let me know in my DMs on social media. The way you can do that is follow me on social media at Instagram at marcus.speaks.podcast. Let everybody know when I'm going live and when and what the show topics are going to be about. As well as on Facebook on my personal page, Marcus Speaks, as well as my group page, Marcus Speaks Podcast on Facebook. The way you can find that is in the search bar on Facebook. Type in Marcus Speaks Podcast, or Marcus Speaks Podcast, or in your search bar for your whatever internet browser you use, Chrome. I've got Microsoft. But anyway, anyone that you use, type in www.facebook.com/Marcus Speaks PC, capital M in Marcus, capital S in Speaks, and capital PC. And I'm also on Twitter at Marcus Speaks 25, the username Marcus Speaks Podcast. So please check those links out if you can. They're all there. You can subscribe to me. You can follow me. Whatever you want to do. Just don't hit me up in the DMs talking crazy. And when you do hit me up in the DMs, if you have a story recommendation or any type of recommendation, don't be weird. Just say I watched the show. Here's my recommendation. All right. So if you can like this video, share my channels, subscribe if you're new, hit that bell icon so you can immediately get all of my notifications. And don't forget to leave a comment, all right? Let me know how you felt about this podcast and about the show. So with that, people, this has been a good show. I will check you all out next Friday when I go back live with my game stream. So peace out. I thank y'all for watching. Y'all have a nice night. Peace out.